Hi, my name is Calvin Carr. I've been mountain biking since 1992. We basically did a test ride of the 2011 Camber, and we had a chance to go out for a couple hours today and see how it rode. And I normally ride a 26 bike, and we did a little bit of comparisons. I think the Camber for that 4-inch travel was pretty aggressive as far as a comp bike. I thought it handled well as far as over roots and drop-ins. My first impression of the bike, I actually thought it was a good bike for what you get and how it handles. I had no problem going over rocks, rock gardens, roots, boulders. It felt really good. Nice, strong, stiff bike going downhill. Not a lot of play. The 29er just seems to obviously roll much more efficient than obviously a 26. Really enjoyed the bike today.
So you mentioned some things about climbing that surprised you about 29ers?
Yeah, the 29er held its line. I like to consider myself a climber, and had no problems going up some of the hills. Actually turning in some of the 6%, 7% grades, it held its front tire on the ground, went up like a cheetah. Very impressed, very satisfied as far as riding that particular bike, which is the Camber.
What would you say the weaknesses are?
Weakness is that obviously, when you're used to a light bike or 26, you got a little, you steer with the hits sometimes. I had to make basic adjustments, but that's just because there's some familiarity with riding the 26 for years on end versus the 29er. The 29er, once you figure out how to position yourself over the bike, it rode a little better. But the part of that is just the weak part is the weakness of a 29er is actually getting used to a 29er and how it rolls and how it's a little less play in the hips that you can steer and things of that nature. Absolutely. I think the Camber comes with decent componentry. I would obviously like to have better shifters on the bike. I felt myself pressing in to the point where I actually had to pause it for a couple seconds for it to actually click in, which, for a lead-in bike that costs a little bit over $2,000, I guess at that point, if something does happen to the actual shifters, you can upgrade from that point. But initially, I felt that they might be able to do a little better job as far as, upgrading that particular part of the actual bike.
Okay, how did you feel about the wheels? Did you feel they were stiff enough? Any complaints, comments?
Surprisingly about the wheels, I thought the wheels were totally efficient for the price point. Didn't feel a lot of wiggle room in them. Didn't feel them shifting up under me. When I actually, put some RPM, some power in them, they did not shift. They felt stiff, and that's kind of what you want. And again, for a lead-in bike, the Camber for a little bit over $2,000, you can't really complain about that.
And yeah, I had a couple of comments about the fork, and you were riding some pretty aggressive rock gardens, which you'll see on the clip behind you. What were your complaints about the fork?
Definitely the fork. I would give a thumbs down for right now. Obviously, the Camber is more of an aggressive bike. You want to have something that responds when you're on there. You don't want to have to think about the fork. I got in a couple situations where the fork, as far as the linear approach, just kind of squished down and didn't respond back up. And at that point, you're putting yourself in a position in the endo. So that was one of the things I did not like about the actual comp fork that came with the Camber Specialized.
Your overall experience of the bike in just a couple of words.
Again, for the value as far as a lead-in bike for the Camber this year, it's definitely doable, and I would recommend it.